Hi, welcome back to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And today, the film that I'm reviewing is called Army of the Dead. This movie is available now in select theaters and will be available on Netflix on May 21st, 2021. The movie is rated R. It's 2 hours and 28 minutes, which is a really long movie, and no director's cut is going to be needed because director Zack Snyder clearly didn't leave anything out of this film. So I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell. I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, offer tips for parents. The biggest tip is this movie is not for kids, and point out themes worth talking about, and even give you some recommendations for other movies that are similar that you might even like better. All right, so let's dive in. The very gory zombie thriller is directed by Zack Snyder, whose first zombie apocalypse movie was Dawn of the Dead in 2004, which was his directorial debut. This, however, is not a sequel or related to that story at all. He just really likes zombie movies, I guess. This is his first digitally shot feature film. The description of this movie is following a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, where I live, a group of mercenaries takes the ultimate gamble, venturing into the quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist attempt ever made. Dun, dun, dun. So I was originally excited to see this movie because I thought Zack Snyder did such a great job on his recent director's cut, Justice League. But within mere minutes of watching the prologue of Army of the Dead, I was shocked and disappointed by the extreme gore and disgusting content. I read that he had actually cut out some scenes of the movie because he thought that he had crossed the line. I thought that he had crossed the line many times in this bloodbath of a movie. I recognize that there will be a lot of people who really think this film is awesome. And I've read a lot of reviews already where people were like, greatest zombie movie ever. But it's definitely not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And it wasn't mine either. All right, so let me first tell you the things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, really great camera work. In fact, Zack Snyder worked as the cinematographer, the director, and even helped with the screenplay of this movie. He was all in. I also was excited to see this movie because I've always liked Dave Bautista ever since I first saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy. In this film, he fights zombies as expected, but he also spends a lot of time having sappy conversations with people. I think he shines best when he's doing macho stuff and humor. Like, did you ever see the movie My Spy? Totally adorable. Well, there's not so much any of that. There is humor in the movie, but it's really not his humor, it's other people's humor. So I was a little bit disappointed by that. Chris D'Elia filmed his role in the movie, but when stories broke out about his illegal sexual pursuits with underage girls, Zack Snyder yanked him from the movie, and which I'm impressed by, and replaced him with comedian Tig Notaro, who was filmed alone on a green screen and later inserted into the scenes during post-production. That actually was super impressive. I thought Tig Notaro did a great job, and I was super impressed with how the editing crew made those inserts look seamless and their choice of deciding when to insert Tig into the scenes. And I'm not sure what's going on, but Tig used to be a comedian years ago, and I watched a lot of the stand-up routines on TV, and then kind of nothing from Tig for a long time. Now I'm seeing Tig pop up in all kinds of movies. In fact, I just did a review for a movie called Together Together, where Tig plays a role. And so I'm thrilled. I think Tig's doing a great job. So yay. The movie was actually not filmed in Las Vegas, but in the former Atlantic Club Casino in Atlantic City. There are CGI scenes and backdrops of Las Vegas, and they generally look realistic, I would say. But living here, I definitely noticed that there were definitely some shots of places that don't exist here in Las Vegas. So Because the Atlantic Club Casino in Atlantic City had been closed since 2014, they had to bring in a bunch of air conditioning units for the crew just to film some of those indoor scenes because it was, all hot and muggy and dusty and dirty and all that kind of stuff. Here's a fun fact. A real tiger was actually used for some of the shots of the zombie tiger. They put makeup on it and had a trainer nearby at all times. They also used some computer generated clips that were kind of inspired by the Netflix documentary series Tiger King that came out right after the pandemic when people were hunting for something to watch on Netflix. So I thought that was funny. I've never seen Tiger King. I heard it was ridiculous. Anyway, there are some very good creepy sound effects and some really good visual effects. Lots and lots of action. As I mentioned, there's an attempt at humor and some of it works, but not all of it lands. Another thing I really like about Zack Snyder is you never really know what he's going to do with the characters. He doesn't really seem to care which ones live or die because he loves great shock value. And there's a lot of shock value in this movie. I'll just say that. I don't want to give you any spoilers. But of course, knowing it's a zombie movie, some of the characters are going to die. Horrible, horrible deaths. So if you're excited about that, you're going to see a lot of that. There are some really great song choices and musical score by Junkie XL. And there are some memorable moments that people will definitely be talking about, I think, after they watch this movie. All right, so on to the things that I didn't really like. Again, I just thought it was over the top and too much for me. I prefer more playful zombie movies, and I'll give you a couple of recommendations for those coming up here in just a minute. But there's this story about a queen zombie that I just thought was ridiculous. It also makes no sense that some zombies have feeling and emotions and cognitive skills and others don't. Plus, there are plenty of elements that just make no logical sense according to the film's own zombie rules. Zack Snyder tries to create this new kind of zombie kingdom, and I just didn't buy it. Now, some people are loving it. They're like, oh, he's reinvented the zombie genre, whatever. It just didn't work for me. There are some topless old lady zombies at the beginning of the movie, and I was like, don't want to see that. Sometimes the zombies have superhero powers, and other times they walk really slowly, like we're used to seeing zombies, kind of and then others are just doing all this crazy stuff. Most of the zombies just look like actors in costumes with makeup. And so that part of it I thought was bad. And then ultimately the movie could have easily been shortened. Again, Zack Snyder has a really hard time cutting out scenes, which is why he made that extended cut of the director's cut of Justice League. And I kept wanting to do a movie review of that, and I just never had time and never did that. But I really did like that extended cut. I thought he did a great job. With a 4-hour runtime, I felt like I was watching Lord of the Rings or something like that. Now, let me give you some tips for parents. And the biggest tip, as I mentioned at the beginning, is this movie is not appropriate for children for many, many reasons. First of all, it is super violent and gory. Heads get smashed, bodies get smashed, and you see all of that. There's some inappropriate sexual content even. You see a fiery car accident with fatalities. There's profanity, crude language, and lots of F-bombs. Spanish is spoken with English subtitles. Lots of destruction. Thieves are glorified, and it's just kind of gross. Now, the themes that were illustrated in the movie are courage and stupidity, caring for the innocent, and family. So whenever I watch movies, I write down funny lines and interesting lines just so I can share them with you so you can kind of get a taste for the movie. Maybe that's a bad choice of words. Anyway, I have all of them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. I'll just share one of them with you right now. So there's a character named Martin. He's played by Garrett Dillahunt, and I've always liked Garrett Dillahunt. But anyway, there's this zombie tiger that appears while all of the characters are standing there. And he goes, "It's a zombie tiger." That's crossing the line. All right. So, with all of that being said, the movie is stunning to look at in a super colorful, gross, gory way. The scenes are filmed really well. There's this environment and world that's been developed. However, it's just too over the top, gross, and disgusting, and just not a general movie that everybody's going to really enjoy. And so, ultimately, my movie review mom grade is a B minus. There are some zombie movies that I actually did like, but let me take you back. When I was a little girl, I thought the most scary monster was a zombie. I think the movie my dad made me watch with him was Night of the Living Dead or something like that. And I was horrified. And so I was just scared of zombies forever. And then years and years later, I had teenage boys and they had a sleepover at my house. And I came down in the morning to make breakfast and they were watching The Walking Dead. And I was horrified. I'm like, you can't watch that. That's too scary. So I said, all right, let me watch it to see if it's okay for you. To kind of preview it, even though they had already been watching some of it. And so I started watching it and I actually surprised myself. I got sucked into it and really liked it. And to the point that now I'm not afraid of zombies. If one walked in the room, I could grab a knife and stab him in the head and, I'd be fine. I'm telling you this because that was big progress for me. However, this zombie movie just takes it way beyond. That being said, I think I only watched maybe 2 or 3 seasons of The Walking Dead, and finally it crossed the line for me. And I stopped watching. I don't even know how it ended. But anyway, a fun zombie movie that I like, and its franchise is Zombieland, where there's lots of humor, some action, some zombies, all that kind of stuff. But it just was more palatable for me. And then the sequel, Double Tap, got a kick out of that one too. And then another movie that I actually really liked is called World War Z, based on the book with Brad Pitt. Now, in that world, the zombies turn very fast and they run. And so it's very different than that classic old-fashioned slow walking zombie. So that was kind of like, Oh, and another one that I just thought of that I've seen several times that I like is a Will Smith movie called I Am Legend, where yes, there's zombies. There's a little different type of a zombie in that movie, but there was more heart to it. All right. So that's my take on it. And I completely understand that not everybody is going to agree with me, but just telling you that's how I perceive the movie. All right. I hope if you watch the movie that you enjoy it. And if you don't like it, then I gave you the heads up. Thank you so much for all of your support. And I will catch you in the next movie review or movie trailer reaction. Until then, bye for now.